morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Andy Serling and Paul Verderosa on the special added Leap Day card.
Once every 4 years we do this.
Once every 4 years we're supposed to not be racing, and we add a day of racing. Well, we are racing today, and nice to be back in action. There are 8 races on today's card. Track is listed as fast. Had a little bit of rain yesterday, and the weather's been a little goofy. I was in Saratoga, and I was walking downtown in Saratoga on Tuesday with a sweater on, and I was sweating. It was like mid to high 60s.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah. And then it got cold. The bottom fell out. Rain.
Yeah, but it's a reminder how nice it gets. And when I go to Saratoga in the winter, there will be times, and I go up there fairly frequently to see my mom. And when I'm walking downtown and it's 8 out or 0 out or something insane, and there's snow, I think to myself, I know it's really nice here in the summer. It's just a little hard to remember.
Yeah. You'll get it back soon enough. See, I see Saturday, when we hit Gotham Day, I see that as like the unofficial start of spring.
Well, as long as the weather's nicer, it works out that way.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be around 50 degrees. There's a possibility of some showers, but it's not looking that bad, so hopefully we'll be okay that day. But glad to be in action. The Gotham card, of course, that was drawn yesterday. 13 horses in the Gotham. Looks like one heck of a race. And it's such a good race, a great race for a horse to get started, like a horse like Deterministic, or horses that broke their maidens at 6 to stretch out. And it can be a feeder for the Derby, but it can be a feeder for other races like the Pate Mile and races like that, and even our Woody Stevens and our Alan Jerkins.
Yeah, for sure. And you see horses cut back in distance, too, a little bit to run that race. And it's a solid prep race all around. It drew a big field. I think all of the stakes on Saturday drew good fields.
We have
for a lot of horses.
We have a trivia question that I stole from Rob McClellan in the racing office. We're gonna have it on tomorrow's show, so I'm not gonna reveal what it is, but we're gonna have a question about relating Gotham participants and Breeders' Cup horses, and that'll be on tomorrow's show. Actually, it's kind of fun. I think we should do more of those trivia type things.
Yeah,
I think they're fun. Well, it's like when you're watching a basketball game, like a Knick game, and they ask you like which player or something. I always, and it makes you want to tune in to get the answer.
You can always add something to it, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. So anyway, we love trivia. We love racing. We'll get to the show in just a minute. You head over to Naira Bets. Oh, we've made a big change. It is no longer, it's a new one, bonus 200. I am destined to screw this up on a number of occasions. Use the promo code bonus 200. Head over to nairabets.com, and we will match the $200 of your initial deposit. I like that picture.
Yeah.
It's a good picture, like in a full drive. Those have the look of, are those like the Randy Hill silks? I think of him when I see salmon. I'm not 100% sure, though. I don't want to disrespect anybody out there.
He's got to bend down a little further, see if we see that.
I like that. That's a good action shot.
Good
By the
shot.
way, Joel Rosario will be riding here tomorrow
Yes.
and Saturday. Looking forward to seeing Joel. He's riding Deterministic in the Gotham. Head over. What else we got? Oh, we got track stats. So you're at Naira Bets. You're signing up. Check out the track stats while you are over there. Of course, no show today. But we will be doing shows on Thursday starting next week as Oaklawn begins their Thursday shows. So we'll have shows on Thursday through Sunday from 3 to 6, and then hopefully a little more on the weekends. Anyway, get to work. Today's first race. We'll take a look at You Better Be Joking. We'll go back 2 races to his second place finish. You've got him on top. I've got him second, and I agree with you. I think he is an extraordinarily likely winner here.
Yeah, I think he's going to be tough to beat if he runs back to any of his last 2 races, honestly. Linda's got good numbers doing this also, the sprint to route angle. And I just feel like last time out, he just went 4 wide, and he just wasn't really in the race. He kind of dropped back a little bit there. I think he's going to show speed on the stretch out today. I know the Dam's only win was routing on turf. I'm not really worried about that because he's actually improved his last 3 starts, and I just feel like he's the most likeliest winner.
What are her stretch out numbers? Because I didn't look them up, and you mentioned that they were good.
I don't have the exact. I didn't write down the exact number. I just know that the percentage.
Helps.
Yeah, I know it should help, and that's my fault on that one. I think I was reverting back to a stat.
Because if you look at the useless stats at the bottom of the page, and one of the reasons those bottom of the page stats are bad is not just the timing. That would include turf and dirt, and so you have to narrow it down. I had wrote to look it down. Something else to remember: a good stat for stretching out, and the horse is 5-2. The horse is going to be even money or less. It's not a good stat for even money shots if you're winning at 30%.
Correct.
So you have to be careful with those stats. She does a lot of things well. I have no problem with the horse. There really isn't much pace in here.
Yeah.
Should be in front, but I don't know. I'm just not thrilled by this horse, and I want to give Young Frau another chance, a horse that you apparently don't like at all. I thought his last race would make him tough in this race, to be honest. I don't think he ran that badly. Those were better horses. The pace was at least relatively honest in that race. A horse like Proven Hope finished fourth in there. Proven Hope would be an overwhelming favorite. Why would you have this horse off your top four? I'm curious.
I just did not like going back to the December race, I didn't have him anywhere either. I just didn't like the drop down. I felt it was kind of like a get rid of.
Okay, but it's not December.
No, I understand that. But then his next two races, I understand they were bad and they were against better horses, and he's dropping below the level of the claim. Maybe you can give him a pass for the wet track race, but last time out, I know it was better.
You don't think his last effort could make him a contender in here? Really?
I'm not a fan of his. I'm just being
Okay.
honest. And I think from the inside post position, I mean, is he going to get the lead from in here, or is he going to sit off a horse like the 5 in here? And
He'll probably be sitting about fourth or fifth. I'm
yeah,
not worried about where he's
I
sitting.
don't think he's much horse, and I really
not,
just don't like him today.
But you've got Steady Progress second, and you've got Arabetto third. Are they much horse either?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but
I've got Arabetto
no,
third too, and
to
his
me-
form is atrocious.
Atrocious.
I mean,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got Arabetto ahead of him, and I can't find a single race of Arabetto's that beats any of his recent races, at least his last three.
The only case I could make for him today is I just think that he's going to get a better pace scenario than he's gotten in his last few races. The last race fell apart on him a little bit. He does have one or two okay races. I'm not saying they're good enough to win in here.
Well, there's a time he could
Yeah,
win here, but his recent form's been atrocious.
Yeah, so they're okay. And Steady Progress, I mean, he got wired 2 starts back, and actually the last 2 starts he got wired, so maybe cutting back to the mile will help him a little bit, but he's just 1 for 16 and, is what he is.
I'm not Young Fro's biggest fan, but I think he fits very well, and he's the logical alternative to the 4. It's fine that you don't like him. You don't have to like anybody. I'm not exactly sure what about his PPs makes him less likely to win this race than maybe anybody, but you better be joking. But that doesn't mean he's going to win the race. We'll see what happens in race number 1. Race number 2 changed dramatically when Sue Ellen Michigan came out. She was, at least to me, and I think you as well, a good bet against in here. She took advantage of a bias last time. And the horse that we have on top will show her race. She's way the horse to beat, but the truth is she was better off with Sue Ellen Michigan in here because she might have offered a little more pace. This performance by Lady Mine was exceptional. This was a day when it was very hard to win from behind and very hard to win if you were outside. And Trevor had to take her out of the kickback, and she's probably a horse that doesn't want to be in kickback. So she's wide basically every step of the way, and in a race that was dominated up front, she ran a remarkably good race. I didn't like her at all that day, and I was dead wrong. She should have won, and pace or no pace, she runs a similar effort here. She's going to win.
Yeah, she's way the horse to beat based on her current form, and you're absolutely right. She does not care for kickback at all. Saw that 2 starts back, too, when she came off the layoff, and Dylan took her the overland route. I'm a fan of hers. Jeremiah got her right once he got her, and I just feel like I think she would have been a little bit better off with Sue Ellen Michigan in the race, but she's gotten really good now, and I think she can make her own trip in here.
She's been terrific, and she did get left from the inside last time. And the other players, I mean, the speed appear to be the 3 and 4. Well, Ruby's in Time has completely lost her form, and maybe Easier Field or not, she was awful last time. And Silken Dollar, I think, going to Dave Donk and getting back to the dirt, I thought Silken Dollar was very much the other horse in here because she would be forward in this race, and I like her getting back to dirt. You have Shinful second, though.
Yeah, I'm not way against Silken Dollar at all. As a matter of fact, Silken Dollar's run into some good horses up at Woodbine, too. Rowtown's 3 for 6, and all the horses, even
Those are
Trading Bay and Talk to You Later, they all buy her in the 70s and 80s routinely up there.
She
so.
may be a better horse, though, on turf and synthetic, or she may just be an improved horse.
Yeah, it could be either way. I mean, she figures in here, too. And Shinful, for me, I mean, the only thing the reason why I had Shinful second originally was I wasn't sure how the track was going to end up. Both her wins were on a sloppy track. Going first time Linda. This I actually had a stat for. First off, the trainer switch sprinting on dirt, 180 days plus at Naira. Linda's 3 for 18 with 6 in the money and a 98-cent ROI. So it's not exactly inspiring numbers. I just thought this horse would have been better off if the track came up wet. But
I think a lot of the reasons that trainer change numbers you'll see are much worse than claims is, in general, claims are horses the trainers select to claim, and a sharp trainer is going to select horses they like, whereas trainer change, a lot of times they take horses.
Yeah, they get them set.
And so, I mean, I'm not saying Linda doesn't want this horse, but she didn't say, let me go out and get Shinful. So I don't disagree. I think you have to notice this horse is, going to Linda Rice's barn. I just didn't particularly like her as a dirt horse, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Lady Mine runs her last race, and I don't care what the pace scenario looked like, and she gets a fair trip. She'll win by a
Yeah,
single
she's
block.
too good. Yeah.
Unless the track is a big inside track again, and even then she might overcome it, as she almost did last time. Race number 3, Dame Cinco, comes out of race number 3, but It Takes Heart is the first focus of this race. What do you do with this horse?
I don't know. I mean, she got a real nice trip and got herself into the race, and she ran well. I mean, there's no doubt about that. This was probably like the no doubt biggest winner you could find at Saratoga at that point
Yeah,
that day.
yeah.
You know? So I don't know what to do. She's been vet scratched twice since then, so I'm just not sure what to make of that race. I didn't use her at all today. I wouldn't be shocked if she ran well. But for me,
there
I
is
just-
something very interesting about her in here, though. She's running in a $50,000 claiming race, and yet, despite the scratches, the vet scratches, the long layoff, since they claimed her for $35,000, she's in for the waiver for $50,000. So, let's say they've had her for 7 months, and let's just round up and say $30,000 in fees, okay? So $65,000 in the horse. Well, if they lose her for $50,000 and they get the winner's share, they're still going to come out and they're going to make some money with a horse that's tough to keep on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yet Rob and the connections. Now listen, Rob may be happy to lose her, and Zilla Racing say we don't want to lose her, but they're actually saying we don't want to make $20,000 plus $20,000 with this horse
And be satisfied, yeah.
and walk away with a horse they can't seem to get on the racetrack.
Yeah.
So I consider that a massive positive for this horse. Rob's barn's been a little cold. Rob is one of those trainers, at least in New York, I should say. He seems to be streaky. He'll win a bunch of races. He'll go quiet. And a lot of barns are like that. And this is no way a criticism of Rob Falcone, who I think is a good trainer. And I like Rob. He's a Nets fan, the poor guy, just like me. But I found the waiver, because for people who don't understand the waiver rule, you can run for the waiver if you're running for the price or higher.
Yes.
It's lower, obviously, you can't take a shot. I thought that was really fascinating.
It's an interesting point as
And
far as she goes.
I think to leave her out is, and I'm not running the window to bet her either, but I am definitely excited to hear what you like about Icy Reply.
So she's not really a mile horse. I know
Okay.
she has that 1 second place finish at the mile. So, I mean, she got hooked last time. She was widest in that battle that was going on up front, and
Right.
drops and cuts back today. She's got a few races underneath that she's run
That
well.
was that day where the rail got dead, though.
No, true, but she's run well, though. In the prior 4 starts before that, she did improve, basically, in every start. She only won one of them. She's not a winning machine.
She has that one big start,
Yes.
which I don't know where it came from, and I don't know we'll ever see it again. At 5 for 44, she's a little tricky,
She's tough.
right?
Yeah, no, she's tough to take on top. I actually almost pulled the trigger more so on Violent Vixen on top as opposed to her, but
Well, what is your story with her?
Violent Vixen?
Yeah.
So I'd like her better if she had a little bit faster races lately. She can definitely chase from the outside here. My Flicker and Anonymously are decent horses that she's run into down at Laurel. She's got the start way back here in November of last year. I know she wired the field that day, but that start was not bad. And I just think from an outside post, I think without having, she's a little edgy now, she's going to sit just off of a horse like Everyone Loves Linda or It Takes Heart. So maybe she gets first run on some of these other horses in here. I just wish Charlie was winning a few more races. But
I know
think this
David
is a perfect-
Aragona likes her. I
Yeah.
didn't see her. I certainly respect your opinions on her. I didn't really see her. I just didn't think she'd been running as well as these, but she is a new face of the crew. I'm buzzy as a hard horse to know exactly what to do with, because she is in razor sharp form. And I'll tell you something, I like her cutting back in distance. I think she's better shorter. But I think this race is a little bit deceptive if you throw in the fact that the rail may well have gotten dead. And when talking about this, this is the Whistler's, the Whistler race that
yeah.
she came back to win. And David had remarked to me a couple of weeks ago, he thought that the rail might have gotten dead the last 2 to 3 races. And there is some evidence that's true, in which case she really had the run of the race. She's never been a miler, and that's what I like about her running well, but she really did have an extremely good trip in here.
Yeah, she had the perfect trip last time. 2 trips back, she got a good trip. But that day, too, if you remember, Everly's Girl kind of blew the break in there, too. So I think that kind of helped her out. I feel like she's gotten good trips and she's fallen into good positions.
But she's in good form.
Yeah, and listen.
And she always had ability.
Right, you can't take it away. We say a lot of times they fall into perfect trips. Sometimes you can't help that. Good horses will run well. They're improving. She's in good form. I thought 3 starts back was actually where she ran her best. that day when she won that race against Killy Starr and Jackie the Joker. So she's in good form. It's hard for me to figure out where she's going to fit in here. I don't totally dismiss her. I just liked a few prices in here.
It's fine. I bet everyone loved Linda. I'm off the Dutrow claim. I've always had a thing for this horse. Eddie Barker's done a great job with her, so to suggest you think she's going to improve for for Rick, I don't know, because Eddie's really done well with her, but with the scratch of the 6, she could be the speed of the speed. She could actually be faster than It Takes Heart. Now, we'll see how aggressive she is off the layoff, but if she's in front, I want to give her a chance to wire the field. I'm not in love with her chances here, but I thought with the scratch of the 6, this race could end up being more dominated, more forward.
When the scratches came in this race, I had a little bit of trouble debating on what I wanted to do in here for exactly what you said. I have her 3rd in here. I just wonder if she's just what she is. Now, Rick improves these horses for sure. We've seen it before.
No, not for sure. I mean, he's had plenty of horses he's claimed that he has not done well with.
Yeah, he usually
There's
tends
some
to move them
notion
up.
that he has a magic wand that he waves at him, and he doesn't.
To me, she's no standout as far as figures go in here, but her speed may carry her in here, depending on if she's faster than the 5.
No, she's not a standout, but listen, the standout is it takes heart if she runs close to her last race.
Based on her last race.
But the problem is it's not reasonable to expect that race.
Yeah.
And if she runs her other races, she's really barely a contender here. So it's really hard to know, and that's why I found it so odd that they would waive, and I assume they've still waived, unless it's a misprint in the form.
I have it listed as the waiver, so I don't know.
Yeah, so
I
I don't even know where you'd find it. Yes, Takes Heart is entered for the waiver. So I just found that to be an intriguing part of this race, and an interesting race at that, with a number of things going on. Race number 4, we'll take a break after race number 4. I think at race number 4, did you put Red DGP on top?
Yes, I did.
We'll take a look at his race on November 24th, 2 races back, and I have no argument with you. He's the horse to beat.
Yeah, he's the horse to beat in here. I'm a little worried when you look at, I'm not usually one to say, oh, he's with certain horses are at certain venues and don't win, but this horse is 0 for 7 here at Aqueduct. He's run good enough races against better horses. He definitely needed the last race. I think he's going to get a better trip today from the outside post on the slight drop in here in class. And if he breaks and he runs his race, I think he's way the horse to beat. He's going to sit for a horse like Grand Again in here, and Grand Again's probably just going to,
I don't know what to do with David Jacobson. I know I don't love him dropping down. Listen, he could win the prior race. We didn't even mention his horse in the prior race. Her last race was terrible, Tammy the Tigress, but she might wake up this morning and remember she wants to run. I don't know. He had entered this horse once at Oaklawn. I wonder if he shipped her down. It was a funny race because there were 2 New York breds in a race at Oaklawn, and then he brought him back, and he didn't run that well last time, but that was a better field than he's in.
100%.
And the thing about the race is, the horse you have second, and I have 4, South Street. We'll show his last race. He's the clear other option based on his last race, but he's not exactly a reliable horse.
No, he just doesn't win. He likes to run second, but he's run competitive in spots, and
he's 6.5.
Yeah, and I just think the cutback,
You think it's good?
I think it'll help him a little bit, but I just don't. I felt like it was Red GDP for me, and South Street was a B for me, and then it just everybody else. I wasn't.
Okay, I saw it differently, which is fine. And listen, I'm not going to be shocked if South Street wins. I usually like cutbacks, but I'm dubious of him, to be honest with you, and he is not a winning type, as you pointed out. I know Gun Maestro is 1 for 17 and has had a lot of chances, but he was in a race last time on a track he really wanted to be on the rail. And horses like Borletti and Sharp As are significantly better than the horses he's running against. I know he was claimed by Linda, and Linda drops him down, and it's not a great sign, and she's going to pretty much wash her hands, make a couple pennies if he wins here and gets claimed, and he probably will get claimed. She claimed a horse for a quarter that was claimed for $16,000. She may have just gotten a little overzealous, but I know if he runs his race 2 back, he's very, very dangerous in here, and last time out, he chased wide on a track he wanted to be inside against much better horses, and now he finds himself in a field, to me, that is crying out for somebody else, because I'm not betting David Jacobson with 8 to 5 shots. I'm not betting a guy who, from one week to the next, one race to the next, they may run great, but they also may run crappy, and I don't love them dropping down. And this horse has a crash descent, claimed for 40, in for a quarter, now in for 16. I just can't trust this horse.
Yeah, it's an interesting chess game when you look at the claiming game with trainers like David Jacobson, what he does, and all the van mileage that his horses get traveling around the country and then coming back at running spots. And even Linda, too, when you see a horse like this that gets claimed for 25, she drops it for 16. It's only been away for, a month. Definitely was against it last time. I have the horse third in here. This horse is just a hard horse to get a read on, but 3 starts back even, I thought the race wasn't bad. Just was running with its head bouncing up and down. Just didn't really care for the way the race was flowing out. And 2 starts back was the better race. So, and last time was against it. So 9s, 8s, and 1s for me. 9 was by far an A for me, and then the other 2.
I think Chalky Cat's a little bit interesting in this race, and I will admit of having an affinity for this horse. And I know it was a weak race, but listen, he drowned horses that had better trips than him probably last time that came back and ran 1-2 in a bad race. I'm not going to defend it, but he circled the field and ran in there, and I've always thought he had some ability, and Ed Barker's horses have been running extremely well. And I don't want to discount the possibility a horse that started his career out with some trips and looked like he had some promise, and he kind of fell apart. And now he runs his best race ever last time out. Who's to say he won't continue to run well? So I'm going to use him a little bit as well. And listen, and I admit I have a thing for Chalky Cat, but I'm not sure I'm wrong about him. See what happens in the late pick 4 as we come back from a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Paul Verderosa and Andy Serling. A special Leap Day card that was added late. Race number 4. Let's start with the 3-1 second choice, Alla, who won last time, a horse that we've both left out. Why have you left him out?
I feel like Alla, while this horse has run good races, I just feel like this horse is suspect at this level when this horse gets into this class. I mean, this horse has run fast races before, but it was against a little bit lesser quality than this horse is facing today. And I also feel like that this horse hasn't paired up wins either. That's a thing with me sometimes. I know sometimes race dynamics play into it, but this horse just hasn't paired up wins. I thought last time out got a soft lead and wired the field and ran well
He was on a good rail. He was very much
Yeah.
with the racetrack in this race. And that's one of the reasons I thought he was a little bit dressed up. I'm going to keep an eye on the Maker horses because Maker has had an incredible meet here so far, and a couple of results don't mean the barn is just falling apart, but he did have 2 pretty logical horses in a row eased on Saturday's
Yes.
card. And so I'm going to be taking a look, and probably means nothing, but I thought it was sort of odd. It's, you don't see that too often,
Yeah.
so I want to see that. The horse to beat in here is Amadeus Music. I have him 3rd. You have him 2nd in here. Take a look at his last race. I don't have anything against this horse. I just think he's the horse to beat. I just wanted to use some other horses.
Yeah, I agree. I don't make such a big deal either that this horse gets off slow because he does it basically every start, so it doesn't really affect his numbers that much. I was more worried about the pace in here today just being a little bit slower and him not running as well. But, I mean...
But the pace is going to be favoring Alla, so you've left a horse out that's going to be in front.
Yeah, but I
and
just
you're
think,
worried about this horse being affected by it.
No. Well, I think
they're not congruous.
But well, I got to be fair about that. Like, I just don't think Alla's going to stay the pace.
Well, then it's probably not as big a concern, right?
Well, listen, once every 4 years I do this. I'm getting a little. No, I'm only kidding. So but for me, I just feel like if this horse runs his race, he's the horse to beat in here. I have him 2nd. I don't have any problems with him whatsoever. But I just thought there was another interesting option that we both agreed on.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you talk about Union Fleet?
So last time out, I know this horse was a big price in here. He beat a horse, Morse Perfect, who's a decent horse. And actually, after the quarter, I mean, this horse traveled like a winner every step of the way. And despite being a big price, comes back to New York, faced tougher fields the last time he was here than the field he faces today for sure. As an inside post today, I think Manny should be a little bit aggressive with this horse, keep this horse within range. And this horse could run a big race today at a decent price.
I agree with that. I thought he ran in a very strong field. To give some examples of the race, the second horse had run an 89 buyer in his prior start. You look at the field, and they were okay, the horses that he ran against. So there is an argument that was a very legit race. And as you noted, he ran in Belmont in New York 2 times last year, and he ran figures of 77 and 74 that make him at least a contender in this race. And Shadow Dragon, Ormstown. I haven't seen Ormstown back. Savage Mission was in good form then, as was Mason Mania. So he was running against good horses, and I thought he'd be a decent enough price in here. In his last race, I agree with you, was pretty good. Horse Be With You. I wanted to put him higher in here, and he's going to be the other speed. And I bet him last time, and obviously he was a week and a half the best. This was about as ridiculous a beat as you can ever take at the racetrack, because not only did he get engaged in a wicked fast pace where the other horse fell apart, but for some reason that God only knows the answer to, and even he's probably confused, Eric Cancel decided to set out in the 4-path the whole race on a day the rail was gold.
Yeah.
So he did a great job being aggressive, but I don't know what his problem with being on the rail was. And so not only was he not on the best part of the racetrack, but the winner, Dylan Davis, stayed in the rail, angled around another horse and came up the rail, and he was the luckiest winner in the history of horse racing about as it goes. And this horse ran extremely well. I do feel like this may be a tougher field, but he ran very well last time.
Yeah, tougher fields for me. The other thing with him too was 2 starts back too. He was against it too that day. I think you wanted to be a little bit more outside, and he ended up being inside that day. So it was a tale of 2 trips in his last 2 starts for him. I just wonder if he's a little bit better longer than he is going the mile.
I don't worry about that much. I think he'll be better. I think he'll be fine. His last race was good. Prince of Truth, I was going to put him on top. I decided to put him second because Union Fleet would probably be a fair price. And I'm not convinced this horse wants to go a mile. I really liked him last time, and obviously I was dead wrong. He ran terribly in there. And the truth is he was moving along actually with the Institute.
Yeah.
And the Institute blew him away. But now we haven't seen him for 2 months since that race, so I may have gone wrong. And I thought his prior 2 races were okay and would give him a chance in this field. So I want to give him another chance. I don't trust him. But Linda's running at a mile, which she knows the pedigree, and she must have some confidence he can get the mile. So I'm going to look at 1s and 2s in here.
Yeah, and La Verdad did win at a mile, though, I thought. But she won.
She may have barely held on longer.
I think it was,
I don't really think she's considered
No,
a
she's
mile.
not a miler, no, for sure. But I think she did win at the mile. And to me, it's funny that you had said, you're not sure about the... To me, when I looked at this horse at the paddock, this horse looked like a horse that had a build that wanted to go a little bit longer. So maybe
You're paddock beating now for us, really.
Listen,
really? Who knew?
I've said I've learned a lot
Really?
this past
Paddock
year at
beating
Change. Yeah,
on
from
how far
Vacation
they wanna
Maggie
go.
and Big. Yeah, take
Okay.
notes and everything.
Well, we got
I've
it all
grown
going
up
on
in the
up here.
last 2 years here. But I like you, I toyed with this horse on top, but I just thought the 1 was a pricier option. I think it was going to be a longer price anyway, but I could go 1, 2s, and 3s in here and feel
Similar
comfortable.
price in the morning line. I
Yeah.
don't think it'll be that different. Race number 6, another race going a flat mile in here, and we will take a look at the horse you have on top, HP Moon, who's clearly the horse to catch and the horse to beat.
So this horse has had some problems staying on track. I mean, obviously has had some issues that has
think?
kept this horse away. Yeah, but I mean, the drop doesn't worry me as much just because this horse has had the issues that this horse has had, but this horse has run well. The 3 works bother me a little bit coming in, but the horse has steady numbers. I'd love to see Jose Lezcano just be aggressive with this horse today.
This horse is in front
This horse
unless
is
he
front.
falls down coming out of the gate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and just go, in here. Has run against horses like Spun and One, and he's my Honey Badger and my Harbor's Dream, and just better horses. And I just like to see this horse go to the front and just try and wire them today. If this horse is right, coming off of the layoff.
He's going to be a pretty heavy favorite. He's the controlling speed, and he's the horse to beat. I don't think this horse wants to get a mile on a flatbed, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at the race, and I showed it, and I know there were much better horses. But he had this race won, and he fell apart a little bit in the late stages, and I worry about him getting the mile. He's probably found the right spot. He's going to be in front. It would be ridiculous to suggest he's not the horse to beat in this race. I'm just don't want to take him. And Dave's got him 5-2. I'm not sure he's going to be 5-2, and I'm not sure if he's 5-2 that you really want to be too confident in him because he's got a massive edge, because you look at this field. All right, you've got Montebello third. I liked him last time. He didn't run a step in there.
Yeah.
He sat on a gold rail. The race fell apart late, and he got second because he was decelerating only slightly less than the other horses around him. I know Rock the Weekend ran an amazing race in there. How he could run the race, and I can't take anyone that was on a good rail behind him. Portos is just too slow for me in a race where there doesn't seem to be much pace. And I'm also, He says win.
Well, he doesn't win. I mean, I have him second.
Win.
I'm
He's
underneath.
a plotter.
But yeah.
Winning Connection's another horse who doesn't win. I wish Oscar the best of luck with him, but this is a horse been in some good barns, and they've had trouble getting him to win with perfect trips. Is he impossible? No. Listen, Grandpa's kids may wake up again. He briefly ran a couple of figures that would make him very, very tough in here. I don't think he's impossible in here. But I got to take the 9. I got to give him one more chance. I don't know what went wrong. Maybe he just can't run anymore. But to be fair, he was never on the rail last time. He was 2 to 3 wide the entire way around the racetrack, going a mile and an eighth, coming off 2 months. He's got races fast enough. I just wonder if there's some way that Lubrera can find some of that speed he used to have. He used to be able to be a lot closer. And I took him last time, and I struggled a lot with this race, and I said, I can't take HB Moore in the top. Just don't trust him to wire the field, and I don't need him at a short price. There wasn't anybody else I wanted. It was either the 8 or 9 for me if I wanted the other horses, and I went with Making Boss Moves, who I still think, despite being against track, ran fast enough that he could contend in this race.
He just has to be able to be a little bit more in. I just feel like the speed is
Probably.
gone, and he just hasn't
Probably.
run as well. And both his wins were off tracks. I was hoping that if the track came up wet, I think I would have liked him a little bit better. And now he just doesn't have the speed he used to have. I don't know. I mean, I just
Ran a big figure 4 back on a. I mean, ran behind aggregation.
yeah. I mean, he's run against decent horses, but I just feel like he's just been beaten 5-6 lengths against decent
He was
horses.
against it last time. If today's track is fair, listen, if it's a big inside track, he's got no chance
Yeah.
today. But if on a fair racetrack, and no reason it won't be fair, it's been fair the last number of days, so let's hope it's fair. And I thought he was a little interesting. A lot of horses in here I didn't want to take, and I thought I might get a little better than 5 to 1 on him, but we'll see how it works out. Race number 7. Well, this is a maker test.
Yes.
Because Run for Your Honey is kind of a bit of a sort of a typical maker horse, a horse that really he didn't think would take a lot of money. He took a lot of money last time, got it done. Now got a very good ride by Manny Franco to get it done as well. The rail was an advantage. He wasn't on the rail, but he stayed towards the inside, and he stayed. Man, I don't trust this horse at all, but he is the horse to beat.
I agree with you on this. I have him 3rd. Found his way, like you said, to the good part of the track last time out. Technically, it's a little bit of a drop in here, but I don't know, man. I can't take him again trying for 3 in a row at what's going to
He's the horse to beat. His last race will probably win. I don't trust him.
I don't. You think his last? I don't know. I think there's horses that can.
You think your horse, Grace Reform's last race is better than his?
I think that he flattened out on a good part of the track, on a bad part of the track, I should say, last time. He puts blinkers on today. I'm hoping he shows more speeds, a little bit better focus.
What do you mean he flattened out? Grace Reformed. He closed in the race. He didn't flatten out.
He did, but he didn't really, like, I don't know. I just feel like going, and I feel like stretching out to a mile is going to help him, too, in here.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
The dam
I've got
ran
him
long,
second.
ran well.
I'm
I mean,
looking-
I think the horse is going to run well in here. I feel like, all things being equal, when you look at Run for Your Honey, and the track, I think, helped him last time out. The start before that, he beat a field that he was supposed to beat that really wasn't.
Well, wait a second. You say the track helped him out. Okay. He wasn't on the rail. He was inside of his rivals, but he was never on the rail.
But he still found his way to the good part of the racetrack, though.
No, he didn't. Once again, he was never on the rail. He was inside of his rivals. The rail was the place to be. He was inside.
But the rail was the place to be. He was in the 2 or 3 path as he dropped down to
Guys,
the inside.
let's show that
He was
replay.
about- he
Let's
moved
show
out a
his-
little
his
bit.
2 or 3 path trip.
He was. When he dropped to the inside, he was in about the 2 or 3 path, and then he ran on a little bit and drifted out. It's still a good
Okay,
part of the track.
Right now, he's in the 2.
Right now, he's in the 2
He was
path
not
right now.
taking advantage of a gold rail. He was towards the inside.
He
but
moved-
they're
he-
going to
well,
drift
he got-
significantly in the stretch.
Right.
Significantly.
But he was.
What do you think he is now? 3 path? 4 path?
Right there, he was in the 3 path. But he was still, now he moves inside a little bit more, and now they start drifting out under a left-hand stick. The inside part of the track helped him.
Okay, you said that Grace Reform was against the track. He spent
No,
about 60 to 70% of the track race on the rail, right on the rail.
and then he went out to the outside, and
but
that's
he
where
was
he flattened out.
But he was inside more than this horse was inside.
Possibly.
No, he was definitely inside more than that horse because that horse was never on the rail.
But he was still on the good part of the track. I'm sorry. I know you're saying he wanted him to hug the rail to say it was good. He was still on a good part of a track when he moved inside.
We'll have to agree to disagree about this one, and I think Grace Reform can win, but he is coming out of one. They're all coming out of
they're
hungry
all coming out
races.
of a hungry race.
But he's coming out of one hungry race, and isn't he kind of the horse that got the good trip saving ground, that angled out? I mean, I wanted to pick him, but the more I looked at him, the more like, I'm not sure he wants a mile. I'm not sure he gets better with more distance. I know he's a Salamini, but
I don't think the mile's going to hurt him that much.
I
I think
don't
he's
know.
going to
I
show
have
more
no
speed
idea.
today, too. I think he's going to show more speed today, be a little bit more focused, too, with blinkers on. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, for me, I just think he's going to be a much better price than Run For Your Honey is.
Well, yeah, but is he as likely to win as Run For Your Honey?
I would 3, 6, and 8. I would the 6 and 8. I think are the two likeliest winners if you don't like the 3.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will bet Progeny. I have questions about Progeny getting the distance. I don't like his last race. I didn't like any of his other races, but he could win this race.
Yeah.
I don't think that Progeny is a no-hoper in here. This is not a good field. As far as Diane's Merlot, I'm not convinced. The race 2 back was good enough to win here. The horse does get Lasix for the first time. I don't like the race this horse is coming out of, and I'm not sure how to evaluate his maiden win because there were 4 first-time starters out of 6 horses in the race. I think getting the Lasix helps. I think his last race was good enough in a field quality. He's got the outside post. I wanted a new face. I'll be honest with you. I was searching, and I more just was eliminating horses. And there weren't that many I liked, and I haven't seen him yet. I thought he'd be in a good stalking spot, and maybe he's a Vino Rosso that will appreciate some extra distance.
Completely agree with you on Diane's Merlot. And actually, the maiden race you spoke of, the field's still all maidens. I looked that up. They're still all maidens.
know
Race. The only thing that with this horse is, and I've noticed it in her starts, and I think David mentioned it too, that all of her starts, she keeps hanging on her left lead, which isn't going to help her. But I'm hoping distance will help her out a little bit. I want her to sit just off the pace, as you said. I don't want her to get hooked with anybody in the pace, but she's a new face in here, and
I was
she's going to be a
seduced
prize.
by being a new face in a race where the faces here
are just
ain't very good. The last race today was absolutely crushed by scratches. Not just 3 coming out of a total of 9 entrants, but 3 horses that had an effect on the race as we go to the last race, and we'll look at your pick, Lightman, who now looks like the absolute controlling speed.
Yeah, controlling speed, stretching out. I'm just really happy to see this horse back and being able to put races together because they've had some issues with this horse. The horse got sick, then they had a couple of bone bruises, a bone chip. Then the hock flew up on the horse. This horse got really sick. So I'm happy to see this horse come back last time. Ran okay. Now will stretch out today and should be the controlling speed in here. And I just want to see this horse put in a good effort and run well today. I just think this horse is now way the horse to beat with the scratches that came, with the horses that came out in here.
Bruce Levine is 8 for 65, stretching horses out from sprints to routes on the dirt, 12% with a $1.26 ROI, which scared me a little bit. I don't disagree with you, especially with the scratches. He becomes the horse to beat. I thought he was going to face a lot more pressure, but those horses came out. I'm going to take Clever Forever. I feel as though this is a softer division than the other division, and Clever Forever was chasing wider than May the Horse Be With You the whole way and trying to get a mile and an eighth, and I thought his last race was an extreme improvement. Off an effort, there was actually an improvement for him, and I'm wondering if he's one of these Todd Pletcher horses that's just getting better, and I thought his last race was pretty good, and he's also not going to be particularly pace compromised. I think Kendrick will be sitting behind Lightman, so at least in his case, he's not as hurt by the lack of pace. I thought the interesting horses here also were Doc Advantage and Safalo's Mission, 2 horses that were wide last time on a time that it probably didn't really help their chances being outside. 10 Cent Town ran that big number. The problem is, obviously, 10 Cent Town and Wario have not come back to the number, but maybe they benefited from the track a little bit, and these other horses were compromised a bit. I thought Doc Advantage had a chance.
Yeah, Doc Advantage, the trouble was decent enough, I thought, a little bit last time, too, for this horse. And this horse should definitely appreciate the stretch out. Yeah, it doesn't win, but should appreciate the stretch out back to the mile distance. I have the horse second in here, and I like you, 2s, 4s, and 5s and 7s were where I thought it was. That's Safalo's Mission.
There, the 6-horse field down to 4.
Yeah, now we're pretty good. Yeah,
Really?
Who are you going to put in the winner's circle that we don't have? The 1 and the
Noble
the 6.
Huntsman's a little tough to make in
Yeah.
here, and Provision's a little hard to make. So you got down to 4.
Yeah.
That's strong.
We made improvements.
You might want to lean somewhere.
I'm leaning on Lightman.
Okay. So you've got it narrowed down to 1.
We narrowed it down to 1.
All right, Paul. I think, Paul, you'll be back on Saturday
Yes.
with us. I think Sarah must be out this week.
Yes.
Yes, all right. We hope she's enjoying her, I'm guessing, vacation somewhere. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Head over to Naira Bets. Use the new promo code BONUS200. Don't put in that match 200 or, I don't know, smoke will come out of your computer. I'm 1 for 2 on my shots up here. And also, when you're at Naira Bets, check out the track trends. Take a look on the Naira Bets website. Once again, Paul, thank you so much. Chris Griffin, he's getting all set for today's special card, and he'll be up in just about 5 minutes with a reprise of Scratches and Changes. Have a great day at the Big A.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.